Let's talk to Esther McVey, who is, of course, former Minister for Common Sense, Tory MP. Esther, very good morning to you.
It's wonderful to be with you for this national renewal. We've fixed the foundation.
What's he talking about?
We're getting growth. We've got working people. I don't think he believed a word he was saying. They were just like words coming out of his mouth, weren't they? With mannerisms. He's been told to use Tony Blair mannerisms to show you meaning.
Oh, yeah. All of this stuff with the hands, you know, when he gets the hands together, holds the sort of the fingers like that. Poor old David Lammy looks very confused sitting there next to him on his left. I don't think you know.
Doesn't take much, Mike. Doesn't take much.
He's trying to work out why he hasn't got a cup with his name on it. Have you noticed that Starmer's got a mug with his own name on it?
Well, that's so everybody knows who he is.
Well, as somebody else pointed out, it's because they don't want to share any cup that he's got because of that cold sore they had the other day, but that's something else. But seriously...
Or they might want to call him by other names, so he's just reminding them the name to call him by.
I know. Seriously, though, he's in a terrible place, isn't he? I mean, Angela Rayner leaves the government on Friday. He obviously didn't want that to happen earlier in the week. They were desperately trying to keep her, but she couldn't rise above the scandal at the end of the day. He's now got, instead of her, a six-pack of women, all of whom have got some axe to grind against him, possibly with the exception of Bridget Phillipson. They all want to be deputy leader of the party. He can't control who gets it, and they've all got it in for him. They've all got a knife to stick in his back, and he's got nowhere to go, has he?
Yeah, infamy, they've all got it in for me. Absolutely. The net is closing in on him. He's got so many people who dislike him in his cabinet, on his backbenchers, within the trade unions, within the membership, and he did a non-shuffle, reshuffle. He moved people around to different positions, and can I tell you, the only winner from that really are the civil servants, because he won't be in charge of what goes on now in government, because it takes such a long time to get to know a brief.
Yeah.
It will take you a year, maybe more. It's like doing a PhD. So I was in charge of the DWP. You've got 100,000 people who work for you, 750 job centre. You've got the benefits. You've got the pensions. You've got to understand what is wrong. How are you going to fix it? Is it possible? And because it's such a complicated set of law to go with it, actually, will you be able to merge it together so you can make sense of what you've got? So if you think you've just spent a whole year doing that, and now he's going to move people across willy-nilly, across so many departments, they won't be able to do the job. So the civil servants will be running it. And equally, it showed how weak he was as a leader. If somebody's doing a bad job, like David Lammy must have been, because he's taken him out of the Foreign Office there. Right. Well, he sort of demoted him in one way to justice, but then promoted him to deputy leader. Then you've got Yvette Cooper, hasn't smashed the gangs. Her one in, one out was a disaster. That has not been happening. And yet what he does is move her to Foreign Office. So really, you can't make sense of what you've done, because you don't usually move somebody, promote them, if they can weave magic, and they're going to weave magic in another department and do some good. This isn't the case at all. And maybe what you usually do if you shuffle somebody to Foreign Office when you know you're under threat, it's because it's to get them out the country. It's a great position, get rid of somebody. So maybe he's feeling a threat as well from Yvette Cooper. So that's what it says to me. He's being threatened by everybody. And now with the deputy leader, and so he's thrown his own person in there, Bridget Phillipson, because he needs a Starmer ally, he's in deep, deep trouble.
He really is. I mean, even apparently in the sort of the upper echelons of the backbenches, they're talking about how to get rid of him. You know, I mean, I've been saying since last August, he's not going to last. I don't think he's going to be able to have the abilities that he needs to be Prime Minister, and so it's proven. He has no prime ministerial skills whatsoever. He's got no management skills. It doesn't seem, his judgment seems to be off. It was only last week when he was in phase 2 of the new government, which nobody knew he was going to get into. He was moving people into Downing Street, costing us more money, more taxpayers' money going out for more specialists, more people who supposedly were experts in various different fields. He moved Darren Jones from the Treasury into Downing Street to make him the chief advisor, chief sort of secretary to the Prime Minister, you know, and all of that's been blown up again because on Friday he changed it all. And he tried, as you say, to move Ed Miliband, who said, I'm not going. So he's still running the net zero department, which apparently they're going to crack down on.
Though the public don't want any cracking down, never has the public been so skeptical about the con that is net zero. But really, his backbenchers, their concerns have very much been voiced by Emily Thornberry, who's also going for the deputy leader there,
Yeah.
and she's saying no more mistakes.
Yeah.
I mean, she's really going to be a thorn in his side. She thought she was going to get the role of Attorney General, and she was unceremoniously dumped to allow his good buddy, Lord Hermer, to get the job. So she's also out for revenge. But I think this bad luck or, you know, making mistakes, it's very interesting. I'm hearing people now saying, oh, he's a very unlucky leader. And I thought, no, he's out of his depth, hasn't got an idea about what policies he wants to do. But when people are talking about him being unlucky as well as making mistakes and being bad, you know his backbenchers want him out the way.
They really do. And one of the things that was being said as well yesterday was that he keeps coming up with these new sort of slogans. You know, he keeps resetting things and kind of re-arming himself and now rearranging the cabinet and claiming that this is now, you know, a different way of doing things. He's talking about renewal. You know, before this, he's been talking about missions, you know, 5 missions for a better Britain. This is from earlier this year. Make Britain's streets safe. How's that going? Not so good. Breaking down the barriers to opportunity at every stage. Not really. Building an NHS fit for the future. Yesterday we found out that 4 out of 5 hospitals are failing and 2 GP surgeries a week are closing. Make Britain a clean energy superpower. Well, I'll have to refer you to my good friend Jürgen Meyer, the head of GB Energy. I'm not quite sure. We haven't seen him for a while. I presume he's taken a long summer holiday. And secure the highest sustained growth in the G7. Also not true. They had higher growth than other countries in G7 at the start of the year, but thanks to Rachel Reeves and her new fiscal policies in April, that was all killed off.
I mean, for me, he'd never be a prime minister for any time in history, but he certainly isn't now. And he looks confused all the time because he thought he was coming in as this internationalist, and that's what he was going to be. And actually, it's a time where people are talking about the nation, they're talking about the sovereignty. He also wants to talk about net zero, climate change, what he was going to do, hence his buddy Ed Miliband's there. Actually, never has a nation been so skeptical about this con of net zero. He wanted to talk about refugees are welcome here. We're an open, tolerant place. We're a sanctuary nation. And people are saying, no, this is not fair anymore. You've opened the borders. You've let people in. You're treating people who've broken into our country better than you're treating us. So I think he's scratching his head because all of his beliefs that he's had all of his life just do not hold, and they particularly don't hold now when people are concerned about crime, not as he is, non-crime hate incidents and hurty words. He's just concerned about completely the wrong issues. Never has a man been so out of touch and out of his depth.
Yeah. It's absolutely shambolic and quite shocking, actually, that a man can spend as long in politics as he has and at the top of a legal profession as the head of the Crown Prosecution Service and be this useless. I mean, no wonder the justice system's in tatters if he was running it for several years, because we're obviously still feeling his legacy. But let me ask you about Peter Mandelson in a moment. Before I do, I'm going to play this exclusive clip. This is from a new show that we're doing here at Talk. Harry Cole Saves the West, it's called. He's relocated himself over to the United States of America, and this is him on Peter Mandelson.
One, I feel a tremendous sense, a profound sense of sympathy for those people, those women who suffered as a result of his behaviour and his illegal criminal activities. And secondly, I regret very, very deeply indeed carrying on that association with him for far longer than I should have done. And I regret very much that I fell for his lies. I fell and accepted assurances that he had given me about his indictment, his original criminal case in Florida. Like very many people, I took at face value what he said. With hindsight, with fresh information, many years later, we realized that we had been wrong to believe him. He's a charismatic criminal liar. we now see. And I regret very much indeed, I felt it like an albatross around my neck since his death in 2018 or 19 when it was. I feel a tremendous sense of regret, not only that I met him in the first place, but that I continued the association, and I took at face value the lies that he fed me and many others.
So that's Peter Mandelson talking exclusively to Harry Cole on his new show, Harry Cole Saves the West. The full interview is available on YouTube. Is it available now? Yeah, it's available now. But you can watch it whenever you like. Right now, though, it's 18 minutes past 8. Let's get Esther McVey's view on that. Esther, it's quite an extraordinary thing for him to say, because according to the papers this morning, Epstein was in prison for solicitation of a minor when Lord Mandelson, who at the time was business secretary in the UK government and effectively deputy prime minister, he stayed in Epstein's New York mansion. Now, he's saying there, I accepted his assurances about what he said. Well, hang on, he was already in prison.
Look, this is deeply, deeply unsavoury. He says he fell for his lies. He fell for his lies, his accommodation, his hospitality, his business dealings. There's a lot that he fell for. He was known as Petey. He was doing business deals with him on behalf of the government, and there's now questions whether it was on behalf of anybody else or what that was about with the Sempra Energy deal, the RBS, and JP Morgan. But this will need to be investigated. And I thought it was a very interesting question that Gavin Williamson, another Conservative MP, asked of Starmer. He said, was he properly vetted by you before he was given the job? And do you believe that Lord Mandelson's conduct and association with a convicted paedophile was to be in line with the requirements of the Diplomatic Service Code? And that's quite right. And again, it goes back to Starmer's bad judgment. Look who he's got in his cabinet. Also, it shows how thin the layer of people are in this Labour government, that he had to go back and dig somebody up who, by the way, hasn't just had one sort of scandal, two, had to stand down from government several times. He is drawn, is Peter Mandelson, like a moth to a flame for people with money and power. We had Jeffrey Robinson, we had the Hinduja brothers, we also had Alec Deripaska there. So we've got a whole host of previous incidents that he's come under scrutiny and had to stand down from the government. I'm afraid this is another shameful incident in a very, very colourful past that Mandelson's had, and I do believe he has to stand down from that position.
Yes, because I mean, we've got the state visit of Donald Trump coming next week. Highly embarrassing to have the UK ambassador to the United States embroiled in this ghastly story. You know, and pictures of him sitting in a bathrobe with Epstein on his private island, which was known as Pedo Island. They were clearly very good mates. He calls him his best pal. You know, he's written several sort of cryptic notes and nudge, nudge, wink, wink, kind of, you know, little statements here and there. I don't see how he can hang on. And it's more scandal for Keir Starmer, really.
Oh, absolutely. And I don't think on the back of your Deputy Prime Minister not paying the right amount of stamp duty. So you're asking the whole of the nation to pay more in property taxes, and yet she's trying to limit hers. You've got scandal after scandal. The corruption minister who has questions over corruption in Bangladesh. I mean, you've got a whole host of problems there. There's another thing I would just throw out, and it was very interesting, this relationship, isn't it? Ghislaine Maxwell. What was her job with Epstein? Why did she do a 280-page book for his 50th birthday? It seemed to me they were collecting evidence. Was it to blackmail people? They were getting photographs, they were getting words, it was like an alibi. This gets murkier and murkier and murkier and murkier. And when you hear what people say, you know, there was always, you know, always a photograph, they were always trying to capture images of people. Again, they were trying to gather around themselves, weren't they? Powerful people. And I'm afraid somebody like Mandelson should have been a little bit more on his toes, a little bit more wondering what was going on. And it wasn't a friendship for a week or two. This was decades, this relationship appears to have gone over. He didn't just see him at a business meeting, he was staying for a week on his island. Yeah. Oh, come on, we can all see through this tissue of lies from Mandelson.
Yeah. Absolutely right. Esther, good to talk to you. Thank you very much indeed. Esther McVey, MP for the Tories and former Minister for Common Sense of